White's not going to go for tomorrow?
Yeah, everything looks and points towards. There's a few final things to check the box on, but everything points towards Weisbach should be able to go. Yeah, that was more maintenance. I don't think it'll be an issue. Ostlund is back in Sweden. He's still rehabbing an injury, so we wanted to bring him over here just to keep getting him acclimated to our organization, to how we operate, to seeing what playoff hockey in the American League felt like. It was a great experience for him. He's a really good young man, but he's going to finish his rehab back home with his family.
With Savoy, what's the process like getting him acclimated, getting him integrated with the team at this point?
I think the first thing is, just making sure he knows everybody's names. He's had a busy last couple months, right? A deep playoff run. He was playing 20 to 25 minutes a night. Then he traveled back on Saturday. Then he traveled from Winnipeg here last night. Then he'll travel today to Hershey. So there's a lot that he's been going through. I think right now we want to get him acclimated into our organization, into our culture, get him comfortable with the guys, get him comfortable with our team play. And then when those things start to happen, and also probably get him a little rest because of how much he's played and traveled. I think we anticipate him being available for us at some point in this series. When that is, it's hard to predict. It's probably going to be when he looks ready to be successful. We want to place him in positions to be successful and also help the team be successful. But like Nadeau, Nadeau's here fighting for ice time. And if Ostlund was healthy, he would have been the same. So Matt Savoy is here to play. And when we get him acclimated, we'll see him in the lineup.
That temptation to get guys like Nadeau, like Savoy in there as soon as possible, just because they're fresh off those runs.
I'd say as a coach, when your team's playing this good, you have a lot of loyalty to the guys that have gotten you to this spot as well. So, we've got a really, really close group in there. I think that's been the strength of our group all year, is the camaraderie and the culture. And that's allowed us to overcome a lot of adversity and culminate to where we're playing our best hockey in the last 20 games of the season and all the playoffs. So, I have as excited as I am about Nadeau and Savoy. As a coach, you have a lot of appreciation and loyalty to the guys that have been fighting for you all year and have gotten us to this spot.
Impressed you about Savoy and Prospects Challenge when you got to be around him on the ice at that point?
Natural competitiveness, pace to his feet, but pace to his mind. He plays the game the way that our organization wants to play: attacking, aggressive, speed-based style of play in both Buffalo and Rochester. So I think those are things that automatically stood out. I think he's going to acclimate pretty quickly because of those natural tendencies that he has. Something him and I talked about this morning. When you play 20, 25 minutes a night, you have to pace a little bit. And now you get back to a normal minute amount whenever he gets in there. And now it'll just get back to his natural strengths anyway, playing faster, attacking the game, being a puck hunter, all of the things that made him such a standout in the Western League, but are hard to always do if you're playing as a forward 23, 24 minutes a night.
Training camp, you said that you didn't sense any excitement from him. You thought that showed his maturity. What vibe did you get from him today, I guess, just being around him?
Yeah, I thought he was very impressive in practice. Again, he's basically traveled for 2 straight days. Got in at like 9 last night, shows up at 8:30 this morning, meets a few people. He probably knows the coaching staff and the rookies more than anybody else from rookie camp. And then goes out and doesn't know any of the drills, right? Or if he had, it was ones that were held over from rookie camp. And yet had a really, really strong practice. So that's impressive. There's a sense of maturity and calmness about his game. He's got a lot of belief in himself, as he should. He's earned that.
With guys like that involved with the team at this point in the season, where you've got the semifinals coming up.
Not when Mike Mersch is your captain. Our leadership core is so good, and we're so lucky as a coaching staff to have our 3 captains, but also to have, Pilot and Murray and Barkowski and all these other guys that are just core culture guys for us. So this group, not at all. Murphy texted him last night, welcomed him to the team, got him into the team text, updated him with, things that seem small, but Murphy reaching out to him as the captain, welcoming him as the captain, letting him know what the attire was going to be for the bus, for the games, all of those things. It all eases anxiety that young players might have. Like, what am I supposed to do when I show up? What do I wear on the bus? They don't have to ask staff that now. It's being taken care of. And we talk about what Mersch does on the ice and his work ethic and stuff, but it's those things as well. Having guys over to barbecues at his house and things like that that goes so far in creating the team environment that we really want here.
Matt, this year, just what stood out watching the program? Like, I assume you saw some highlights or whatever you've seen.
Yeah, our player development guys, we have a great player development staff, and our player development staff, maybe unlike certain American League teams, our player development staff is basically an extension of our coaching staff. They're at practice all the time, and some of that is we're fortunate by proximity. All of our player development guys either live in Buffalo or Rochester, and the way I like to run things is carte blanche. Whenever they're available and in town, they're welcome to be here, be on the ice for practice. And I think our players feel that. And then when the prospects sign and get here, I think that helps them, because Matt Savoy knows our player development staff better than he knows us. And all of them, then those guys being here for practice just allows that comfort level, allows them to feel that. So, from my perspective, what I've seen from him is that he's an elite hockey player. There's a reason he's a top 10 pick, and his competitiveness, his intelligence, and his speed are all at a really, really high level. Not just for junior hockey, for pro hockey. But those guys definitely know his game better than me, and I get reports more from them about how our prospects are playing as much as I watch them.
What's different about playing a 7-game series than a 5-game series?
I don't know. Never done it. We'll find out, realistically, I don't think probably that much. You do have a little more time to recover from a poor start potentially, or to get caught from a great start. But we had a bad start in Syracuse and we recovered from that. I can tell you this, our approach isn't any different. Our approach, especially since being down 0-2, is all we're going to worry about is getting prepared to try to win one game. And the best way to try to win one game is to have a couple great days of practice, preparation, focus in on the habits we need to have to give ourselves a chance tomorrow night in game 1. So we haven't talked about a 7-game series because all I want our guys to worry about is playing our best in game 1.
So difference between playing Syracuse and playing Toronto that you had played a dozen times. It's now playing a team that only played twice.
That's different for the coaching staff, for sure. We've had to watch a lot more video in the last 3-4 days than we did. Not that we didn't in the other series, but we had a book of information on the other two teams. Toronto was a little different. We hadn't played them in a while, so we had to dig in a little bit more on what they were looking like now. But Hershey, the three of us have watched a ton of video in the last 4 days preparing, and then probably shown our guys a hair more, not a ton more, but a hair more, just so they're more familiar with style, but also personnel, because those things are important, and we're less familiar. I could say this, though, that in the 4 games we've played against them, the games have been phenomenal. 2 last year, 2 this year. Hard fought, physical, very close games. The games this year, 2-1 loss in their building, 4-3 overtime win in our building. I do believe those were 2 of the games that we had been playing good for about 10 games, 15 games leading up to that. Those are 2 of the games that kind of jump-started us. They've been the best team in the Eastern Conference almost all year. I think our guys gained even more belief in ourselves from how well that we played against them in those two matchups on back-to-back weeks. And you know, maybe that was one of the things that got us going a little bit at the end of the season.
The preparation that you give to like two very veteran teams, you get this series this, it's also a lot of veteran talent.
Yes, I think that is, there are some similarities, probably more to Syracuse than to Toronto in terms of how many elite veteran players they are. It's different. They have some really good prospects too, you know, and they have 3 or 4, you know, pretty darn high-end prospects that are high picks. But you know, certainly they've been driven a lot by the, you know, Snively and Annis and Vecchione and McElrath and Scarbosa, and these are really elite, veteran, savvy American League players. And you see it in the calmness of their play in big moments. You see it on the power play where they can really snap the puck around and not just be in the same look all the time. They have the ability to morph into other things. If they forecheck this way, then they change their forecheck. The power play looks like this, then it looks like that. Usually you can only do that with veteran teams and mature, intelligent teams. So at Syracuse was like that. So that gives us some level of preparation. But this is going to be the best team that we've played. I have a ton of respect for our division. Our division's been unreal for 2 straight years. But all year long, I felt that this was the best team in the Eastern Conference. So I think this will be the best team we've played in the playoffs. Yeah, I told him last year that I was sick of coaching against him. You know, I think he scored a lot against us at RPI. He was a great player for Union. I got a ton of respect for him as a player, and he's been a great player in pro hockey as well.
Those for 2 weeks, what stood out to you about the man, the kid he is, and just his on-ice habits?
Hockey intelligence for Nadeau and stick skill in tight. Those things are really, really strong, which is impressive to see. And then what he'll have to get acclimated to is the pace of play at this level, you know, and not just the pace of play of foot speed, but pace of play of mind. Those are things that I challenged him on for practice. Like the foot speed just will take time. You know, he'll get there because he works his tail off and he'll get acclimated to that over time. He's smart enough to be able to think it at this level. You don't have to in junior hockey because you have more time and space. So if you have more time and space, you just get used to making decisions 1 second later because there's no penalty for not making decisions 1 second later. At this level, there is a penalty. It'll be a turnover. So those are things that he is smart enough to acclimate, and we know that he will.